Who do you think should be most feared in Africa? Well, of course, in addition to tsetse flies and mosquitoes, hungry prides of lions, cunning leopards in the trees, or at least the insidious Nile crocodiles probably immediately come to mind. But no, the desire to become invisible should appear immediately upon meeting this leisurely fat man. You are on the Animal Instinct channel, and today we are reviewing perhaps the deadliest animal in Africa, the hippopotamus. Sit back, we're starting. In our understanding, a hippopotamus is a kind animal that lives somewhere in Africa, leads a quiet, secluded lifestyle, and eats grass, fruits, or plants. However, not all of this is true. Hippos actually live in Africa and inhabit areas south of the Sahara, located directly in the territory of water bodies. They are simply huge animals, sometimes weighing more than 9,000 pounds, and hippos, along with rhinoceroses, are tied for second place as the largest land animals on the planet. And you are unlikely to confuse a hippopotamus with someone else, because the massive body on short legs and the huge head of the animal are difficult to confuse. Its head, by the way, is so large and heavy that it can weigh up to a quarter of the mass of the beast, and its legs are so short that its belly literally touches the ground. Some strange beast, you might say, that should hardly even be able to walk, let alone be a danger to others. But no matter how it is, hippos are the most dangerous animals on the continent, from which, according to various sources, from 1,000 to 3,000 people die every year. And few other animals would dare to come close to their possessions. The giant's main weapon is its mouth, which opens to an angle of up to 150 degrees and contracts with a force of up to 250 pounds per square inch. This is wider than any other mammal. It costs nothing for a hippopotamus to break the bones of an animal that falls into this vice. And he deals with watermelons as easily as a man with grapes. But that's not all, because in his mouth there are simply huge fangs. For example, the lower ones can be up to 15 inches long and weigh 6 pounds each. They grow in a hippopotamus all its life and sharpen from each other every time it closes its mouth. And in addition, the hippopotamus is armed with incisors, the lower of which resemble daggers and grow horizontally up to 6 feet in length. So the herbivore got a formidable weapon. By the way, if a hippopotamus loses its upper fang, then the lower one stops sharpening, grows constantly, and can reach 23 or more inches. So we've sorted out the weapon. Let's now look at its speed. And here it can surprise absolutely everyone, because despite its short legs, this tank is capable of accelerating up to 18 miles per hour, so it's unlikely to be able to escape from it. In addition, this is a real all-terrain vehicle that moves well through deep mud and will be unlucky for any animal that gets in the way of the hippopotamus. And he swims well in the water, or rather moves, because hippos do not know how to swim. They, one might say, simply run along the bottom, pushing off from it with their feet. Of course, it looks very graceful. It's not for nothing that the ancient Greeks called them water horses. But be that as it may, the speed of movement of hippos in water is also impressive. Adults can stay underwater for up to 10 minutes and will appear in front of you literally out of nowhere. And it would be nice if these were calm animals, but no. Hippos are real aggressors who fly into a rage for literally any reason, and even their visible smile is pure physiology. All their free time they think about only one thing: who to fight with. They fight for everything: for territory, for a place in the dirt, and of course for the house. In hippopotamus society, everything is arranged in such a way that only one male has the right to reproduce, and all the females in the herd are his harem, and the males are unquestioningly submissive bachelors. The right to be the leader of the herd is achieved through constant fighting, and only 10% of male hippos have such power. But sometimes the thirst for one's own territory and the desire to get at least part of the females overcomes fear, and confrontation begins. Hippos first demonstrate their strength by opening their mouths wide, and if this does not help, then the fight cannot be stopped. The animals collide with each other again and again, revealing sharp fangs and trying to wound the enemy with incisors and daggers. This is a very dangerous battle, because hippos can receive severe and even fatal injuries. But no one is in a hurry to give up. In the end, the winner defended his right to be the leader of the herd, and the loser will be expelled from it forever. A solitary wandering awaits him until he decides to take on the challenge once again. And the hippopotamus has quite a lot of time for this, because they can live up to 50 years, although frequent contractions shorten this period. But anyone, even the most powerful alpha male, is eventually dethroned. And there is another not entirely pleasant side to the life of hippos. Like lions and gorillas, the new leader often kills the cubs of the previous male, and the mother usually fails to prevent this. Hippos even fight for space in the mud, especially during the dry season. Like all cetaceans, they have very little hair, so hippos spend almost the entire day in the water to hide from the scorching sun. Yes, the closest relatives of hippopotamuses are dolphins and whales, and they had one common ancestor, so water and mud are literally worth their weight in gold for a hippopotamus. They are completely covered in mud, which effectively protects the skin from the sun, and during a drought, it is very difficult to find a place in such mud puddles, which means someone needs to be kicked out. In such fights, hippos often claim territory by scattering their droppings with the help of a short fan tail that does its job very well. Even in the zoo, these bullies do not calm down, and skirmishes can take place between hippos in different enclosures. The fence does not stop the giants at all, and it seems as if the hippopotamus wants to climb over it and hit the enemy hard, although they have enough food. As for food, hippos do not eat much. Only 110 pounds of grass per day is needed by such a big guy, which is less than 1% of his body weight. And here it comes down to the intestines, which are maybe up to 190 feet long, and with its help, the maximum amount of nutrients is absorbed. But in the wild, hippos only eat at night. At this time, you do not need to protect yourself from the sun, and you can devote 5 hours to your meal. Although here, too, lies danger, because even prides of lions do not sleep. They can get a young or lonely hippopotamus, but they are usually too tough for adults. Such a hippo can easily disperse a pride of lions and take its place in the water. What can we say when a lion is alone? He runs away from the water like a kitten. At the mere sight of a hippopotamus, even 4 adult lions will stop when such a giant crosses the road. However, sometimes the pride decides to attack the hippopotamus, and then everything depends on how far the lions are willing to go. After all, the skin of a hippopotamus is very thick, and it is difficult to bite through it, and it will be very difficult to knock down such a carcass. But a hippopotamus can easily kill a lion with one bite. This lioness, of course, was very lucky. Buffaloes are also dangerous neighbors, and there is already a video about them on the channel. However, not a single hippopotamus will tolerate strangers entering its territory. It crawls out of the water and opens its huge mouth wide. Well, then he rushes around his pond with his mouth open, scattering African bulls in different directions. And of course, after this you can't help but mark the territory. At the same time, the hippopotamus makes absolutely no exceptions for humans. As soon as he sees a boat with people, he dives to the bottom and heads for a showdown. And if the boat is small, then there is a high risk of capsizing after such an attack. For example, here only the skill of the helmsman made it possible to avoid a meeting with an underwater torpedo. And often such attacks happen completely suddenly because hippos can hold their breath for a long time underwater, and even swim at high speed in the middle of a wide river. This is not a guarantee of safety at all, because the beast is very insidious. But the hippopotamus behaves so brazenly not only in water. You just need to drive up to a body of water, and the alpha male will immediately come out to meet you. And on land you can't call him kind either. Impalas often suffer from encounters with hippopotamuses and seek refuge in the water from hyena dogs and other predators. The hippopotamus will not tolerate anyone in its pond and is very jealous of uninvited guests, especially if it is a mother and cub. After all, she has to protect her offspring not only from the ubiquitous predators, but also from the overly lively members of her herd. Therefore, she quickly gets to the antelope stuck in the mud and grabs it with her mouth. Unfortunately, This is the law of the animal world. But the most unloved neighbors of hippos are, of course, crocodiles. They are armed with sharp teeth, strong jaws, and can reach lengths of over 13 feet. They also live in the same bodies of water together with hippos, so confrontation cannot be avoided. This is another similar case. True, even 2 hippos were enough here to free the antelope. For a hippopotamus, a crocodile is just a toy that you can just walk around and bite with your mouth. Moreover, even completely young hippos do this, dispersing these lovers of basking in the sun. And reptiles usually try to crawl away from these bandits without any aggression, because they know that getting injured from such encounters is easy. Although there are some people who are treated very kindly by hippos, and they are happy to visit such beauty salons, well, if they are in a good mood, they can give someone a ride on their back. This is how dangerous this clumsy-looking beast actually turned out to be. I hope you liked the video and learned something new about the hippopotamus. Then I will be very happy about your assessment. Write in the comments who else you want to see in the review. Subscribe to the channel and be sure to turn on notifications. And I say goodbye to you for a while. For now.